This is the updated Premier League table, and to make it a little bit more interesting, guys, what we're going to do on this video live with you guys, and some of you may not be watching live, but we are going to do it in a way where both of us have to agree, just to make it that little bit more interesting. We thought if we were just sat there reading off our lists of what we think, we've got to come to a mutual agreement. And as you know, if you've watched this channel before, it's going to be hard to do that, isn't it, mate?
We either completely agree on everything or nothing. There's no in between.
No.
This segment will either be 5 minutes or an hour. That's it.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's who we got first, who is up, and it is, I think you can scroll down a little bit more just to the top of the champions box.
There we go.
No,
so we can see
bit more. Yeah. No, bit more up. No, other way. There, no, down.
There we go. Right, let's get into this. Sheffield United to start off with, mate, and I think this is one that we can both agree on. They're down, aren't they?
I mean, you say that, but
for God's sake.
Move on. Who's next? Honestly, let's move on. Brentford. A funny one, Brentford, because they might go and win like 7 or 8 games of their last 18 with Tony back.
Yeah.
Or they just might fizzle out. Tony gets his move at the end of the year, but he's kept them up, kind of thing. I'm gonna go lower mid for me.
I think I'm happy to stick them there now. And one thing I will say, guys, is we will move this around, I think, as things go on.
Oh, yeah.
It's not done set, is it?
As of right now, I'd say the higher end of lower mid.
One thing I would say, mate, is you look at their attacking lineup. I think Mbeumo, Wizard, and Tony, when them three are all back from obviously injury, AFCON, etc.
Yep.
That's a good forward line in it. And I think they will get the goals to at least stay up.
No, I agree. Like I say, they could finish 10th by the end of the season, 9th, they could finish 15th. Just depends on how Tony comes. Who's next? Fulham. Yeah, interesting one, Fulham. Interesting one. I'm looking at them here. I mean, they are. Jimenez has hit a bit of form as well. I think it's 4 goals in his last 5 games after the 1-0 defeat to Chelsea.
I'm going to go lower mid. Oh, you want higher mid?
I think they could finish like 12th. I think they're going to be 12th or 13th. One of them.
Sort of around that too. So let's put them in higher mid just because it looks a bit nicer that we've got one in each category so far, but they could move down to lower mid. Cool. Manchester United next, mate.
I think this is the easiest one of them.
Mate, I don't think they make Europe at all. I'm going to put that out there. I think there's 8 better teams than them. I do. I'm going to say they finish 9th.
We are 20 games in, and they are 9th.
Because you've got the likes of West Ham, Brighton, all currently above them.
I think Brighton are going to tail off. I think Brighton tail off, in my opinion.
Really? Ooh, okay.
I don't know. They've just been so inconsistent this season. They've only won 1 of their last 5. Now, granted, the other 3, and 1 was a loss, 1 win, 3 draws. There's talks of Ferguson on the way to Chelsea. And listen, anyone that's linked to Chelsea nowadays, you think, well, that's a
non-narrative. That's a non-narrative for me.
I just got a funny feeling that Brighton. Well, okay, put United in mid to higher mid then for the moment. I think that's crazy, you know. They are bad and they are 9th, but
if there wasn't the historical name around Manchester United, because we already know that they're not going to be spending an absolute fortune in the window, and I don't think anyone will, by the way. Would you be saying that's the team that's going to make Europe? I'm not so sure you would.
Yes, because 1, they aren't in Europe at all. Don't forget, they didn't make the Europa League.
That could help.
And I know they're 9th, but they're level on points with Brighton. It's not like there's 5-6 points between them. It's goal difference. Like, Wolves have got a better goal difference than United after 20 games. Has that ever happened? Not from decades, anyway.
No.
I've got a funny feeling United. these big clubs, they tend to find a way, but we'll keep them there for the moment. We'll keep them there. Oh, well, the next team is Brighton. So,
It's
yeah, you
Brighton,
may
which
as
I
well.
thought worked really well. And one thing I would say is they're
Yeah.
a team that have already made a signing in the window. Obviously, they've picked another
Yeah.
gem from, was he Brazilian or something like that? No one really knows much about him. And if someone in this video comes on and says, oh, I know a great deal about that player that Brighton have signed, I'll probably be calling you a liar unless you're Brazilian or know much about him.
Whoever he is going to be sold for 70 million in 12 months. So just
Brighton for me go
yeah.
there. I think they make Europe. You want to debate at the
Listen.
end of the video?
No one loves bantering United more than me, except for maybe Liverpool fans. But I just think they make it. But we'll move on to Everton. Is this an easy one? Is it just lower mid with the points deduction? I think that's really starting to kick in now for them. Like that.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, a lot of players are going to be thinking, God, we should be 5 points off Europe now. And I think he's just kicked it out of them.
But we have to argue the fact that artificially they are obviously on the points they are, but in real terms, they would be on 26 points as we speak and recording this, which would put them higher mid-table. The question is, will they continue that? I'm not so sure. So I'm going to agree with you, mate. I think lower mid, I'm going to argue that I think they finish above Brentford.
There's a 9-point difference between Everton now and 12th, which is Bournemouth. 9 points.
Yeah,
That's
that's
a
a
lot of
big
points
gap.
with 18. That's a big gap. So I think they'll get close. I think they could finish 14th, 13th, but I just think they're going to teeter out.
I think it's one to revisit a bit later on because, as Nick said, with Fulham, one win in the last 5 or so. Well, I'm not sure that Fulham actually finish above Everton, but I'm kind of happy with where we're at the moment. Let's move on, and we move on to Chelsea next, mate. Obviously, a club that we've already spoke about on this live video, and it's a club that we mentioned. Obviously, are performing well in terms of form. They've obviously
They're
turned
weird, man.
around in the league, but they're not looking great, are they?
Because it's Chelsea and because let's call a spade, they have got quality players. They've got
They have.
well,
They've
okay,
just not got
they've
it
got
working. Yeah.
they've got some good players. I'll say that they've got quite
Great.
a lot of good players, but will they lose their next 3 or will they win 3 out of the next 4? We just don't.
Nobody
I
knows.
think if United or Chelsea have to make Europe, one of them does because if they both miss it with West Ham up there, Villa and Brighton, you're gonna have to have someone like Bournemouth, Wolves, or Fulham make Europe. So one of them's got to make it. So should we stick
That's not
Chelsea in there for the? Do you think Chelsea and United could miss Europe altogether? That's a lot of
I think
teams
I know.
above them.
I think like if I had to pick one of those to make Europe, I think it is Chelsea. Do we put them above Brighton, or do you think they finish below Brighton? That's a question because we've got to put them in league order.
I think they finish above Brighton. They're level on points. They've got the win. They've got the win behind them now. I think they finish above Brighton. But don't forget, I think Brighton are going to tail off. So it'd be fun to revisit this at the end of the
I'm happy
season.
to go with that. I just have a funny feeling about Chelsea. I just think at some point that team has to hit some forms, and they already are hitting form, even though they're not playing magic at the moment. Let's move on to Arsenal next, mate. And I think this would have been a team that I mean, Carl said below Brighton. I think Chelsea finished above Brighton. Arsenal next, mate. I think a few weeks ago, this would have been a team that we were speaking about in terms of are we going to put them in that Champions thing. I don't think Arsenal win the league this. Now City are kicking on, but I think they make Champions League.
I think they make Yeah, they're 6 points above West Ham. And West Ham are in 6, they have to finish in the Champions League. This is one of the easiest ones. And to think, I mean, they're 3 points behind City, 5 points behind Liverpool, but they've already beaten Man City this season. So the points that they're dropping against these other teams, West Ham, Fulham, it's
Agreed.
not great. This was meant to be the season that they kicked on and won the league, and I don't think they're going to, but they do finish in the Champions League. Or if they don't, if Arsenal don't finish in the Champions League, Arteta won't be manager next season. Let's put it that way.
I think that could also be true as well. I don't think he's got that much what do they call it? I think, yeah, I agree with your point, basically. Let's move on to
Put it
Forest,
in the
mate.
bank. Yeah.
Obviously, a team that are looking better under
Yeah.
Nuno. They've obviously had a bit of transfer mishaps happening. It looks like one of their good, decent players, Mangala, he's saying that he's not happy and wants to move on. Juve have been linked with him. And it's also a Forest team that have come out and obviously said that they can't spend much either. I don't think they're going to go down, and I'd probably put them at the moment, mate, in between Manchester United and Fulham. I think they're finishing the higher mid-table. I've got a funny feeling Nuno's going to do great things with
Wow.
them. I do. Can't
Scott,
say low mid.
they're 15th. You think they're going to finish?
Yeah, but
Scott,
they've got a new manager and they've won the last two on the bounce.
Man United are 11 points ahead of Nottingham Forest. Do you think they're going to finish next to them in the league? I know this idea
No,
that
I'm just
they're
saying
going
next
to.
to them where we've got at the moment.
No. Nottingham Forest. Okay, so they've got to finish 12th. They are 5 points off Bournemouth, and then there's a big jump to us, Newcastle and United. I can't see Forest finishing the top 12. You've got a lot of bums. You want a lot of teams high in this table. I'd love to see where you've got some other clubs, man.
I think Nottingham
Forest.
Forest finish above Fulham, and the problem I have is you've placed Fulham in higher mid table, which the more I look at it, the more I think it's ridiculous. But
Okay. Yeah, okay. Because I think Fulham are going to finish like 12th or 13th. That's where I see it. I don't think they finish 15th. I do I do see them between 14th and 12th, if I'm completely honest. Forest. Go above Everton for the time being, and that's a
Okay.
revisitor.
I don't hate it enough to massively argue it. Bournemouth up
Argue.
next, mate.
Fair enough.
Can we just put? I guess to be honest, this is another team I'm putting in higher mid table. I've just realised. I think
Jesus
Bournemouth.
Christ!
Bournemouth go there. Bournemouth have been good this season.
Okay. Put Fulham in lower mid then, above Forest. Because
Which means we've actually filled that completely now, apart from one space, 13, 14, 15, 16. Yeah, we've only got one space in lower mid now, by the way.
This is exciting, man.
It is.
Ooh.
I think Bournemouth,
Right.
mate, Bournemouth have one thing that a lot of teams don't have as well. They have a
It's a
Dominic
goal scorer.
Solanke,
They've
a
got a
goal
goal
scorer.
scorer.
Yeah.
That's it. In this league, you could not be great look at Swansea. Do you remember any player from Swansea when they finished like in the top half from that season? Can you remember the keeper, defenders, midfielder? But I bet I can tell you, I bet you know their striker.
Meet you.
Yeah, that's all
Okay.
you need in this league. If you've got someone
Yeah.
that can bang 15, 16, 17 goals, I yeah, Bournemouth are a funny one because they could finish like 14th as well. Should we stick Bournemouth in lower mid?
They are staying in
Keep
higher
Bour-
mid. That's what I will argue you on.
Where's all our teams in the Champions League in Europe? Oh god. Okay, right. Newcastle. We'll leave it as it is at the moment. Newcastle. This is a hard one, man. This
It
is
is. It is.
they will finish in Europe, surely, would you say? Maybe not. Oh
I don't know
God.
on this one, mate.
But
It's hard, isn't it? I think Newcastle, once they've got all the players back from injury, I think they come back firing a
yeah.
bit. Yeah.
They've got to start picking up. They've got to be in Europe. They've
But
got
at the
so
moment, their
many
form is
injuries.
absolutely horrendous. But I think
Well, the big problem they've got is they've got a position in goal with Dubravka where
that's a good point.
Pope isn't going to be back this season. He's proper messed up. Like as far
Again,
as I
that's
know,
another
unless
major position. We're just on about how important
big,
strikers are. I'd
it's a big
argue
position.
keepers are just important.
If there's any Newcastle fans watching, if you do have an update on Pope that maybe outside fans aren't privy to, let us know. But they just it's not working in the midfield at the moment with Guimaraes, Joe Linton. they're scoring goals still. Gordon's still playing well. Wilson comes in every now and then. Almiron, I think, has played every game for them this season. He's played
Yeah.
21 games in the league, Almiron,
A
but
lot of
he's just
Newcastle
not got
fans
the.
say that he needs to go if they're going to step up to the next stage, which I don't know. I think I'd probably agree with, to be honest.
I'm tempted to put them in. No, they've got to make Europe.
Can we put them in Europe for now? Because I think they finish above United.
Okay, yeah, they're 2 points off Europe, so
And we'll
it would
just
be
have
a
to
little
try
bit.
and sort this out at the end. Let's move on to
Yeah.
Aston Villa, mate. And bear in mind that we've gone Champions League as 2 to 5 because I think we will be one of those teams that gets the
Yeah,
extra Champions League place. Just
I'd
for
say
anyone
so.
that's watching and wonders why we've done that. Villa finishing the Champions League.
We should be talking about Villa winning the league more than them finishing
Oh, that's a
outside the
good point
Champions
by
League.
Will, you know. If Middlesbrough win the League Cup, that's one less European spot. I'm going to say that they don't win it, but they are en route to the final, aren't they?
I mean, they've got to go to Stamford Bridge and not lose. Basically,
Yeah,
that's not
it's
going
a
to be
good point,
easy.
though. Well, I do like that point. It's
It
a
is.
fair point made.
I will be honest, that didn't cross my mind. So fair point made. If they beat Chelsea and Liverpool, listen, they deserve Europe. I'm
Yeah,
just going to
yeah.
say it. But, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Villa. We should be talking about them being in the winning the league more than finishing outside the Champions League. So
Villa
I think
finished
they
above
finished.
Arsenal. They have a funny feeling they do, you know.
I don't
You don't. I won't
because
argue that
uh,
too much.
only because I think Villa get further in Europe than Arsenal. Arsenal won't get to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Villa could quite easily win that dusty competition. So
You
I
say
think.
dusty. If we got into that Conference League being Wolves
I
fans, we'd be
mean,
absolutely buzzing about it.
and what a compliment that is to Villa. Hey, I'm a Wolves fan. I'm dissing my own club and backing up Villa. Any Villa fans watching this, you've got to subscribe now. In Villa's eyes, that competition's dusty. So
Yeah,
let's
I
put
do
Villa.
agree. They're probably thinking, you know what, we could do better than this.
Exactly. So leave it as at the moment. Maybe we can come back to it later. Speaking of which, Wolves.
And Carl's
Right.
gone early. Carl said in the chat, he said, higher mid-table Wolves, and I agree with him. I think we finish there. I think Bournemouth finish above us.
Chelsea are in 8th, the last space. They're 3 points ahead of us, and we've got a game in hand. Hey.
Matt, can I just realise that
You've got us behind Bournemouth.
Why have we put Chelsea above Brighton and Newcastle, by the way? Do we think that happens?
Well, I don't think Brighton make Europe. That's what I'm saying to you. So we need to come back to this.
Yeah. Anyway, let's keep this a little quick. I think Bournemouth finish above us because I think they've got a Solanke and we don't have a Solanke, and it's as simple as that.
We've got Neto coming back. Imagine how good we've been over the last 2 months. We've got Neto coming back.
He plays for a month and then he gets another knee injury, probably.
Oh, well, okay. Can we base it on Neto not breaking something every month? Let's try and base it on that.
History says he does, but yeah, okay.
We need to cash in fast on that boy. We had a conversation.
I agree, but that's another conversation.
We need to get that 80 mil and bounce. But there's no. I'll take a side bet with you off stream or on stream now live. They do not finish above us, Bournemouth.
I'll happily bet. We'll say a fiver. Keep it nice, simple. Fiver on stream.
That's not worth my time.
Okay, let's move on to Palace.
No, seriously, put us above Bournemouth. We could come back to it. Put us above Bournemouth. You're a Wolves fan. Come on. We'll do
it then. I think both finish high
below us in the league. They're below us in the league, and we've still got one of the best wingers in the league.
You've got to remember that Bournemouth started the season absolutely terribly, and they've gone on a really fantastic run since.
So did we. We didn't start great. We were in the relegation zone for the first 5 weeks, weren't we?
Mate, at Palace, let's move on to Palace. Are they taking our last space from lower mid-table, or could they be one of the teams that...
Well, yeah, they do, don't they? I think they finish... I think they could finish the highest of these teams because they've got injuries, man. They've got a few injuries in attack. once
They
come
look
back,
good, don't they? Now that Lise and Eze are coming back, they look good.
yeah,
They've got obviously Edouard, they've got Marteta, so they've got two choices of striker that I think could help them out.
and yeah, and also they're only 3 points behind Fulham, and they've had some bad injuries. 3 points is nothing in this league.
They've
So
also got Anderson. I like him at centre back too.
true, very true. I think they're the best team of that lower. That listen, they're all pretty good teams to be honest. I don't think Brighton should be Brentford should be bottom though. I don't think they finished 17th, but we'll come back to that.
Should we just arrange that at the end? Let's move on to
Yeah.
Luton. We spoke about them a lot, mate. I think they've got the fight to stay up, but I don't think they've got the quality to stay up.
I'm gonna say it now. If Brentford lose Tony in this window and don't replace him, they could swap. And I'm being
Oh, I
serious
agree,
there.
but that's a big if in
they
it.
could swap.
At the current moment, I think Luton go there.
Luton down right now. If Brentford sell Tony and don't replace him with someone who bangs, I think Brentford could go.
I
They're in some
agree. I
rocking
don't
form.
think they lose Tony in January. I think they lose him in the summer. Let's move on to West Ham next, mate. Obviously, a team that are currently doing very well.
This is hard, man.
Will they keep up it going? The one thing with West Ham is I feel that
They're in
they
the
could
Europa
spend
League.
in January. I think they could spend in January, and I think they could get that striker, that real out-and-out striker that they need. They've already been linked with it. And if any team's able to spend in January, it will be West Ham because of the Declan Rice thing. They've got that Declan Rice money. I think they make Europe.
And they've had back-to-back European campaigns that will help the FFP books as well. I think they're trying to offload Benrahma as well. I don't think it's a lot. I think it's like 5-6 million maybe. But we've had a super chat. We'll jump onto that now. Really do appreciate that. Rupier as well. Unbelievable.
Arsenal not being champions is absolutely criminal, mate. If that's a criminal offence, then God, everyone's going to jail. Oh, do you really think they're going to be champions? I mean, thanks for the super chat, firstly. I massively appreciated. I don't think they've got enough to be champions.
They're 5 points off. I don't either. The one thing I will say is if they go out of the Champions League super early, Liverpool are still in the Europa League, and so is City in the Champions League. If they've only got the league and FA Cup to focus on, this Arsenal team are good enough to put 6 wins together back to back to back. Do you know what I mean?
I love the backup comment. He's like, yeah, I'm hearing what you're saying, but it's still a criminal case.
Yeah, I've heard everything you've got to say. I wish I hadn't have sent that super chat now, you morons. But no, Danton, I think your footballing opinions are abysmal. Don't ever come back to this channel again. I'm joking.
I hope he understands our humour. West Ham.
You're going to have to get rid of someone then, aren't you?
No, 6, 7. Oh, crap.
This is what I meant earlier when you were putting Brighton in there, Bournemouth, Newcastle, Chelsea. You got everyone in there. One of those four aren't making the. He's got the banter.
We'll decide on that later.
I'm telling you, man.
We'll decide on it later. Because they've got another issue, mate. Spurs next. Where do they go? They make Champions League?
Oh, yes, because they've got Maddison to come back. They've got centre backs to come back. They will lose Son for a little bit, granted, but yeah, they make the Champions League.
And we know that they've got money to spend. They've already made a couple of signings, haven't they?
They have.
Werner in. They've obviously got a centre back option that's come in. Don't know an awful lot about him, but from what people are saying, very good. So I think they make it. And I think I would say that they make it, but finish below Villa, personally.
Wolves F1. Listen, we know you're a Wolves fan, but you can't be making comments like this.
That's outrageous.
Outrageous, that is. We are what? 6 points behind them. I mean, listen, weirder things have happened in football, but that's
let's just get everyone else in, and then we'll sort out the fine tweak. So I'm going to say Burnley down. They're down.
Yeah, get them out of the league.
Conversation. I mean, obviously, Dan 10 2K has said Arsenal are going to be champions. It's thanks for the super chat, but let's get on to the actual two contenders for champions, and I want to know the chat's take on this. Is it going to be Man City for a third time round, or is it going to be Liverpool that win the league? Carl thinks it could be Liverpool. He's gone early. He's put Champions League City.
Wouldn't this would be their fourth in a row? They'd break the record, wouldn't
they? Sorry, yeah, you're right. Sorry, yeah.
I mean, they did the treble last season. I mean, they could. Googling how to refund us. I love it.
Outside, a Wolves fan saying Villa to win the league. That's very big kudos to Villa.
That is a Villa fan who's downloaded a Wolves wallpaper and put it. We recognise. Come on, you Wolves! He watches us all the time. That's a Villa fan. I think Villa have got more chance of winning the league than Arsenal. Actually, no. Do I really believe that? No, I can't say that as a Wolves fan publicly. But Villa are good. I think City do it because I just don't see anyone stopping them. And it's a shame for the league. We are turning into the Bundesliga. We've got friends in our Facebook group, the football group that love City winning every week, and they want Arsenal to lose every week. They want Liverpool to lose every week.
I disagree. I don't like it.
No, because now we can't make fun of Germany or France or Italy. Oh. On a European level, we are dominating over the last 5-6 years. But in terms of a competitive league, City won the league last season by like 7 points, and there was a title race last season. So I think it's City.
What I hate about this, mate, is I argued with you for so long about Brighton being in Europe, and as things stand, sadly, they're the team that moved down to 9th. So you were right all along, basically, which I hate to admit.
I think United finish above both them and Newcastle.
I'm not going to go with that.
Well, they finish above Brighton. Come on.
No, I'm not going to go with that at all. No. Mate, I have moved Brighton out of I've moved Brighton out of Europe, and that's as far as I'm going. You
can't do that.
Table, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. This is our confirmed.
I'm sorry, you can't do that. You can't say, "Oh, I'll meet you in the middle." The middle that you've created is because you can't do basic math and you put 4 teams in a 3-space slot. So you can't say, "Oh, listen, I've gave you this, so I'm going to give you that." The only reason you're giving me that is because you put 4 teams in there to begin with.
All right, guys, that was great waffling by James. This is our table. This is how it ends. So, do subscribe. And of course, let's bring him back. This is our table. Done.
I am so tempted to end the stream. I am honestly going to just end. Okay, I just want the people out there to know I don't believe in this table, this tier list. This is one of the worst tier lists I've ever seen. United will finish in Europe. Do we need to move? What about lower mid-table? Brentford can't stay there if Tony stays. There's no way that Tony, if he stays, he's going to bag 6 or 7 goals. I mean, he'll probably bag about 12 penalties.
How far up do they go, though? I think they only made. I don't like Fulham there either. I'd have like Fulham there. If it was up to me.
Would you really? Do you think Fulham are that bad?
This is getting really messy in it now. Can we go with that? Can we just finish on that? Say we agree.
So you think, come May, Wolves finish next to Man United in the league? I just want to hear you say it.
No, because I said that Bournemouth will finish above Wolves. And you didn't
like that. That's an even worse. This is one of the worst segments we've.
Okay, but who moves into higher mid-table then?
No, I wouldn't put Newcastle in Europe because of their injuries, because they're going to have Dubravka in goal for the rest of the season.
Which then means Newcastle move there and Brighton move there.
No, I think Man United finish above Brighton.
They don't know. They do not. I'm not having that at all.
Well, I'm not having that. I'd rather have Newcastle there than Brighton.
So that's
And
the action. That's our table finished.
that is one of the worst things I've ever
I don't
seen.
think it's that bad. I really don't. I really don't think that's
I'm
bad at all.
Guys, do us a favour, like, subscribe, and share the stream if you don't mind.